I'm Taryn with Sowing the City. Thank you for watching my video today. So as you can see, today I am inside of my house as opposed to being outside in the garden. And that's because this video is a recipe video. And more specifically, today I'm going to be using the very first big harvest of my tomatoes. And I'm going to be making a very simple yet delicious pasta sauce. So without further ado, let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is chop up about 1/4 cup of onion. This is a white onion. I actually didn't use all of this, just about a fourth of it, but I chopped it up very finely. That's how I like it. And I also added a little bit of garlic. So now I want to saute the onion and garlic until they become translucent. You want to make sure that you're not putting this on too high of a heat because then it'll burn. So you want to put it on like medium low. So this is honestly like the most important part. I had already peeled and like gutted out the tomatoes, and I put them in my Vitamix blender as you see here. And then I simply cut the blender on and blended everything together. I didn't add any water or anything. This is a high-speed, high-powered blender. So I simply put all the tomatoes in this blender and blended it, and it'll become this consistency. So just remember, before you do this, you want to make sure that you gut your tomatoes and take out all the seeds. You don't want to put that in your sauce. Okay, so after we blended all the tomatoes together in the Vitamix blender, you're going to pour this soupy like a mixture into the same pan where your translucent onions and garlic was sauteing in. You want to make sure that the heat is on very low right now because you don't want to burn the sauce before it's even ready, okay? So I would put it on like medium low and just stir it ever so lightly. Eventually, I will put the top back on and just let it sit for a while and wait for it to come to a boil, okay? Still on medium. Okay, so now that it has come to a boil, as you can see here, I'm going to add the tomato paste. I just like to add 1 tablespoon of tomato paste. I don't like adding too much because then it'll be very, very thick. So just 1 tablespoon. So now that we have the tomato paste in here, we're going to cook it on medium heat and just let everything cook in together. Continue to stir occasionally so that it doesn't burn at the bottom of the pot, okay? So I used an all-purpose seasoning and some black pepper as the main seasonings. It included some garlic and onion powder in the all-purpose seasoning. I used monk fruit as opposed to white sugar for the sweetener. Monk fruit is a powder that's low glycemic and much healthier to use as opposed to white sugar, so that's what I like to use. And I also did add a little bit of salt, but not too much because the all-purpose seasoning had salt. So now it's time to put the sauce in our container. I normally use a glass container, but I didn't have one, so I put it in this plastic container. So this will only last about a week if you keep it in your fridge, so I would make sure to use it within a week. Granted, if you can't use it within that week, you can just freeze it and use it maybe within a few months of a time. But I normally do just eat it fresh and use it within a week. Okay, y'all, so that was the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Like I said, it was a very simple yet really delicious recipe, and it tastes amazing just because we used fresh homegrown tomatoes. You cannot compare homegrown tomatoes or tomatoes that you got from the farmer's market to store-bought tomatoes. So without further ado, before I go, don't forget, no matter how stressful your day is, no matter what you're going through, remember, just keep sowing, okay? Bye!